Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition. Now, I will go around and talk to the crew to see what their opinion is about their last mission and about Liara. I don't think Presley has any new dialogue.
Yes, Commander?
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
But Joker might have some.
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
It actually makes me wonder. I have no idea what's the approach of modern militaries to having a full beard. Like, do you need a special reason? Like, you know, I don't know. I know there are exemptions for a lot of things that have to do with religion. For example, Sikhs, they have to wear a turban, and they usually do that even in professions where there is some other mandated headwear. For example, the Sikhs in the UK that work as Buckingham Palace guards, they actually do still wear turbans instead of those fur caps, you know, those big black fur caps. So I do. They definitely, you know, there are allowances for beards in some cases, but I happen to realize now that I have no idea if maybe nowadays you just can have a beard, like if you want to, provided it's, you know, neat and, you know, well kept. Have I asked this?
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
Okay, just asked about the
I have to go.
personal history.
All right, see you.
So I guess, but there must have been something new in here, because I got a codex entry out of that. So it must have been new information after all.
Anything you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Dr. Tassoni. Seems like a sweet girl. Easy on the eyes. I mean, if you like the bookish sort.
I do, actually. And as I said last time, Liara is probably either my favorite character in all of the Mass Effect franchise, or definitely like top 3. There is a lot of content with her, and she goes through quite a journey as a character. So I might actually romance her, because I like her as a, you know, I like her character as a person, but I also like her character as a character. I think she's interesting, and the narrative she's connected with is also interesting.
Just remember, Lieutenant, I saw her first.
Only by a few seconds, sir.
I wonder if he would have still said that if I didn't bring him to that mission. because then it would have been by a few hours.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Is this an official evaluation, Commander? Or off the record?
Alenko, when it's just you and me, you can consider it off the record.
That's a generous attitude. Okay. I think there's something wrong with all this. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
Well, to be honest, I actually kind of believe the opposite. For me, it's entirely reasonable that the Council are, at this point, are skeptical. And it's a bit weird how both Shepard himself and Anderson and Udina are like 100% convinced that the Reapers are real and that, they have killed the Protheans and there is this threat of mass extinction. Because, to be honest, all they have to go on is the words of Saren himself, who's possibly a madman, and also possibly lying, and some kind of a cryptic vision that Shepard can't even fully comprehend, let alone explain. For me, I would much sooner believe it's just, it's just some kind of a legend or a metaphor or conjecture or whatever, because the vision is really not that clear. And in general, I have a very rigid standard for accepting, this. I guess it isn't technically speaking supernatural. The Reapers are technological. They are in a way entirely natural, in a sense that they can be explained by natural sciences, because AI, true AI, is just a thing at this level of technological advancement. But I personally have a rather strict sort of level of proof I would need to accept, extraordinary claims. And in fact, for me personally, the fact that I saw something alone isn't proof. I would much sooner believe, if I saw magic, for example, happening, I would much sooner believe that I went insane than that it is real magic. I would have to have multiple people witness the exact same thing and then confirm that independently of each other. To have... If I was one of those people and there were other people that would confirm the same thing independently, then I could start maybe believing that. But for me, as of now, the Council is actually more reasonable about it than Shepard himself is.
We'll get things done. I'd rather operate independently than have the brass on our backs anyway.
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when Kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. A bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Yeah, to be honest, I could very easily believe something like that happening. Like, even in the real world, corporations, they do fucked up shit, on the daily basis. They, like, steal water from actual drinking water from, developing countries, and then sell it back to them? Like, the level of callousness in the operation of those big corporations is definitely up there, that I could believe if there was a way to make humans cast what is essentially magic, even if it's trying to be, explained by some hand-wavy, quasi-technological babble about Mass Effects, which the Mass Effect fields are, they are essentially supernatural. They are clothed in technological terms, but essentially it's something that exists outside of the boundaries of natural science as we understand it. If there was a way to make humans cast magic by exposing them to cancerous drugs, I'm pretty sure there would be corporations that would arrange that to happen. Like, at this point, I'm cynical enough about such things that I wouldn't be very surprised if that came out like this.
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using Mass Effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and bull every night after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana, who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich. But she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. I think you'd have liked her.
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same. But things never felt together. Training,
Jump Zero is a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. But that's my own baggage, Commander. No bearing on this.
Alenko, there's no regulation that says you can't be friends with your commander.
I appreciate that, Commander. I just don't want you to think that I'm a whiner. Besides, I've got my past squared away.
Yeah, I like Kaidan. He's a bit bland, but to be honest, all human companions in Mass Effect are a bit bland to me in comparison to the aliens. But he's a person I could easily get along with in real life. He has a temperament that's actually very similar to my own. He's very calm and sort of subdued and rather introspective. Like he talks throughout all of this conversation, he actually talks in very sort of soft tones. And he's generally a mellow kind of guy.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in time.
so am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits onto our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
This is a pretty stupid question. If they couldn't do that, they would have died out long before they became a spacefaring species. Obviously, they must be able to mate with each other. Although, that brings up an interesting question. Could they theoretically successfully mate with an animal? Because, you know, the other partner doesn't even have to be humanoid. There have been mentions in one of the games, I don't remember which one, but about an Asari whose father was an Elcor. So Elcors are quadrupedal, they are not even humanoid. So if it works with Elcor, maybe it would work with whatever.
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood. Though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face, it is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
Okay, this just straight up literally repeats. It's stupid that it's even possible.
Benezia never told you her partner's
Union
name?
with our own kind is no longer common. Asari daughters and I am what is sometimes called a pureblood. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly...
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could
You
have
might be right. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Wait, but
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
there should be an option.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
Yeah, right.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool. Now you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
I should go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
I do definitely find Liara's initial awkwardness to be rather endearing.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Oh, hello, Shepard.
Are you okay?
I don't know. Your ship is amazing, and your crew's been really great to me. Especially your chief engineer. But I just sort of feel out of place. The Normandy runs so smooth, it feels like we're not even moving. And the engines are so quiet. How do you sleep at night?
The silence wakes you up?
Back on the flotilla, the last thing you want to hear is silence. It means an engine's died or an air filter shut down. I guess you don't have to worry about that here. But old habits die hard. But it's more than just the silence. This ship feels so empty. It's like half the crew is missing. Back home, I couldn't wait to go on my pilgrimage. I couldn't wait to get away from the crowds. Now that I'm out here, I kind of miss them.
Sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
That's true. I'm starting to wonder if that's what the pilgrimage is really about. It's given me a whole new perspective on my people and our culture. You know, there's always a few who go on their pilgrimages and never return. I always assumed something bad happened to them. But maybe they just wanted a different life.
You do plan to return to the migrant fleet, right?
I could never abandon my people, Shepard. I will go back eventually. But we have to stop Saren first. Otherwise, I might not have a home to go back to.
I should go.
See you later.
So, we've got Saren on the run.
It won't be long now. Saren's good, but I'm better.
Good. He's rotten. To the core. I could tell as soon as I met him.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner?
I would've if I thought it was important.
I think I'd like to hear about it just the same.
This was a while ago. A bunch of mercs were bragging about a job out near the edges of the Terminus systems. They said it paid well and the boss was never around to ride them. They said he was looking for more men, too. So I checked it out.
I didn't know Saren was openly recruiting mercs.
It wasn't that open, and he only showed his face once. We'd been raiding ships in the area for months when we took out this massive cargo freighter. Our biggest haul yet. I was on board checking bodies for valuables, looking for some extra credits. That's when I saw him.
What did Saren want with the ship?
I don't know what he wanted. He was just moving through the ship, watching. A couple of the mercs called him by name, but he never spoke to them. Never spoke to anyone. I had a really bad feeling about him, so I got the hell out. Didn't even wait to get paid.
Whose ship was it?
There was a Volus trading vessel. Big one. Lots of guards. But they were no match for us.
What kind of cargo was the freighter carrying? What was Saren after?
I don't know. All I saw on that ship was food and medical supplies. There were some basic weapons, but nothing big. If there was anything of value on that ship, I didn't see it. That's why I didn't mention it sooner.
That's the only time you saw him?
Yeah. Didn't even know who he was. Still wouldn't if I hadn't joined up with you. But my instincts were right. Every other merc on that mission turned up dead within a week. Every damn one.
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
Commander, you have a minute to talk?
I keep an open door policy. If you have any concerns, lay them on me.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Wrex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
That is actually not such a stupid question, specifically in the with regards to Wrex, because not so much with regards to Garrus, because the thing is, this ship was actually developed in cooperation with the Turians, so it's not like it's super unique human technology that aliens know nothing about. They helped to develop this. I'm pretty sure the Turians know how this ship works, because they cooperated with the humans on creating it. But Wrex, on the other hand, he's just some random Krogan mercenary. You know, if it was just that, I would actually have little problem with Ashley, but I have rather large problems with how she frames her distrust of aliens, which she will get into in a moment.
You don't trust their motives because they're not human.
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
You don't trust the Alliance's allies?
I'm not sure I'd call the Council races allies. We, humanity, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
Standing up for ourselves doesn't mean standing alone.
I don't think we should turn down allies. I just think we shouldn't bet everything on them staying allies. As noble as the council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
There is obviously some degree of truth in that. And I say that as a Polish person with, having Polish history in mind. But I also think it's actually a failure of diplomacy on your part. Because it seems to me, I'm not a politician, and I'm even less so some kind of a military strategist. But it seems to me that a well functioning diplomacy should be conducted in a way where you don't just take your allies' word for granted and then act all butthurt when they don't deliver on it, but instead you should forge alliances that intertwine your interests with the interests of your allies, and specifically mostly in very tangible terms, like for example financial terms, where for example they have a lot of investment in your country, or like where you have shared projects together, or you actually know something about them that is valuable to them, so that in the case where you're threatened with being overrun, it would be in their own interest to help you. Not just because they like you or whatever, but because they are protecting their own interests as well as yours. So I don't think it's necessarily true that they would abandon us if we've been doing our job right. For example, this ship is a joint project with the Turians, so to a degree they have a vested interest in seeing it succeed and seeing its potential, because they helped develop this technology. They probably forked some money for R&D or whatever. I don't think it's necessarily true that they would abandon us, although the possibility regrettably exists.
I don't see that as inevitable.
Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
Yeah, that is a very infamous line by Ashley there, with that whole metaphor with the dog. And I've seen people defend that by saying that when she says that, she's presenting the perspective of other races. So in that metaphor, we are the dogs. Some people are saying, oh no, she's not calling other aliens dogs. She's saying they think we, the humans, are dogs to them. But first of all, people who defend that seem to conveniently forget that she literally says in random dialogue on the Citadel that she can't distinguish the aliens from the animals. She says that verbatim and out loud in the earshot of the very same aliens she has just compared to animals. But also, I think the people who are defending this line by saying that she says that about other aliens are missing the point that this is a major case of projection. She says that she thinks that they think like that because she herself thinks like that, and it's natural for her. She can't fathom that they would consider us equal because she herself doesn't consider them equal. And I have huge problems with this metaphor, because it's one thing to say that we are all equal but separate, and in the end they would most likely choose their own species. I might be even inclined to agree with that to a degree on average, But it's another thing altogether to literally compare other sentient beings with intelligence comparable or even, or even, what's the word? Or even extending beyond human intelligence, to compare them to literal animals. Like, I can't get behind that, and that's one of the major reasons I dislike her as a person.
These seem like deeply held beliefs, Williams. What made you think this way?
My family's defended the Alliance since it was founded. My father, grandfather, great-grandmother, they all picked up a rifle and swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
You're lucky. I lost my family on Mindoir. Are you related to anyone I'd have heard of?
Couldn't say, Commander. I read about Mindoir. The Alliance screwed the pooch on that one. Should have had a bigger garrison. Is that why you're out here? To take the fight to the pirates?
No. The future of humanity is out here. There's so much we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I still remember my first field exercise on Titan. When we hit mud, the reality hit me. I'm the first person who ever stood here. Then my drill instructor kicked me in the ass. I went face first into the muck. He spent the next 5 minutes chewing me out for gold bricking.
Don't tell me you had Gunny Ellison. He's the only one I know who uses that word to describe shirking duty.
Oh, Lord. You went to the Macapog boot camp, too? Yeah. Gunny Ellison's still reaming out recruits down there. Kicking ass and using words like inveigle and pusillanimous.
It doesn't sound like you've worked with aliens before.
No, sir. Mainly I've been groundside, part of the surface garrison forces. I did get a rotation on a space station for training. Every Marine a rifleman, every rifleman ZG certified.
That's odd. Your record is spotless and your technical scores are exemplary. You should be serving with the fleet.
Anyway, that's why I haven't served with many aliens, Commander.
All right. I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're going to have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
I'm glad there won't be a problem.
Anything else you need, Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
I think she's being straight with us. Or at least, I don't think she lies very often.
Yeah, she's probably really bad at it. Hey, want me to ask her about her sex life? Might be illuminating.
I don't think she's used to teasing. Good-natured or otherwise.
No fun, Commander. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to it, sir.
Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough, but you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
Well, I actually agree with that assessment, so I take no offense whatsoever.
I suppose I can understand his concern.
You can. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Just because you can break the rules doesn't mean you should. I don't need to stoop to Saren's level to stop him. And neither do you, Garrus.
I see what you mean, but I'll think about it. Thanks, Commander.
Okay, I'll spend a bit of time equipping everyone with the best possible equipment. Okay, and I can just sell the rest because the equipment is getting
Looking for supplies?
a little cluttered.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
Okay, so where to now? I guess I might do this and then go to Noveria. This is a DLC mission, and I've never done it before, because back in the day, when I played Mass Effect 1, I never owned any DLC. In fact, in the time frame of the original game's release, I was very skeptical of the very idea of DLC. It seemed like a scam to me to have like small portions of the game that I had to pay additionally to download from the internet. I have kind of changed my mind because at this point, because there have been a couple of DLC that were actually pretty worthwhile, even in Mass Effect, specifically in Mass Effect 2. There is one piece of DLC that's actually pretty cool, but I've never played this, so I vaguely know what is it about, because obviously it's been so many years. I've glanced at people playing that, and I know some of the things that are going to happen, but not all of them. So let's go and explore this asteroid X57. Although I guess there is another system here altogether, so I'll start with this. Xanadu's atmosphere is composed of methane and argon. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of potassium, with deposits of calcium. Its location in the deep cold of the outer system and its lack of any valuable resources leave little to recommend it. Nirvana has a trace atmosphere of xenon and krypton. The surface is a mix of water ice and iron oxides, with cryovolcanic plumes of potassium concentrated among the equatorial ridge. Nirvana has little of commercial or scientific interest, though a few geological research stations were constructed in the early 2160s. All have been shut down for years. The Alliance maintains an automated ice cracking station, which has quietly stockpiled a large amount of deuterium fuel for use by the fleet. Zion is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, even larger than Jupiter. Despite its deep gravity well and lethal radiation, it supports a small helium-3 mining industry. The reason is simple. As the only gas giant in the Utopia system, it is the only local source of fuel for Eden Prime's power stations and spaceports. Zion has 112 satellites, ranging from captured asteroids to the moon of Asphodel, which is large enough to retain a thick atmosphere. Population 1061. So this is the this is the system where Eden Prime is, but I've never read any of those descriptions before, so maybe there's something interesting. An unusually large terrestrial world, Arcadia has a dense atmosphere composed of nitrogen and helium. Its scorching hot surface is mainly composed of alkaline basalts, but natural deposits are plentiful. Though several spectacular examples of columnar basaltic formations offer scenic beauty, Arcadia's hostile environment has precluded commercial development. The idyllic agrarian world was one of the first human colonies established beyond the Charon mass relay. Eden Prime's biosphere is unusually well suited for importation of Earth-native life. The fertility drew heavy immigration and development by the Systems Alliance and various corporations. Today, Eden Prime is a model of a sustainable, organized development. The population is housed in space-efficient arcologies that tower over 1,000 kilometers of green fields and orchards. Colony founded in 2152, population 3.7 million, capital constant. Okay. And there is an asteroid that requires my attention. But first, let's read descriptions of the planets. Loki is a small terrestrial world with little to recommend it. One hemisphere is largely covered by an ice cap, and the other is a craggy basaltic highland. The rough, varied terrain suggests an ancient cataclysm caused significant damage to the world. This is seemingly reinforced by the unusually elliptical orbit, which reaches 6.2 AU at the perigee and 7.1 at the apogee. Penetrating scans of Loki's ice cap reveal a network of crisscrossing subterranean tunnels. Because some of the tunnels were surprisingly regular in shape and size, early expeditions looked for evidence of excavation. It was eventually concluded that they formed by natural processes. Loki's thin atmosphere is mainly composed of krypton and xenon. When it approaches perigee, frozen sulfur trioxides and dioxides can evaporate into clouds on the hemisphere facing Asgard. Tyr is compositionally quite similar to Earth. However, it lies over 4 AU from Asgard and possesses an atmosphere primarily composed of nitrogen and ethane. While a potential target for terraforming, the presence of the shared sleeves habitable Terra Nova in the same system relegated Tyr to a support role. Nearly 100 corporations, human and alien, have constructed extensive teleoperated mining, refining and manufacturing facilities across the face of Tyr. Combined with the platinum lodes of Terra Nova, the resources they produce are driving development of the local hydrogen fuel cell industries. The Asgard system now supplies nearly 4% of the galactic market. Colony founded in 2156, population 47,000. Capital, Kaldidalur. Bohr is a huge hydrogen-helium gas giant with over 90 moons. Its striking coloration is caused by the light of the ionized hydrogen filtering through the upper cloud deck of sodium. The source of the ionization has not yet been confirmed, but Bohr's mass, equal to 6 Jupiters, and a high temperature suggests that it might be a small brown dwarf, a large gas giant that gained nearly enough mass to ignite into a small star. Though Bohr's deep gravity well makes mining operations difficult, it is the only gas giant in the system. The hydrogen needed for the local fuel cell industry, combined with the ever-present need for helium-3 fusion torch fuel, makes it economical to mine. Terra Nova was one of the Class 1 colonization prospects discovered by the first wave of Alliance surveys in 2150. It was the second human extrasolar colony and the first beyond the Charon mass relay. It currently has the highest population of any Alliance colony. Though bounded by harsh equatorial desert, areas closer to the poles are temperate. The pace of development was modest until the extensive deposits of platinum were discovered in 2170s. This rare metal, required in the clean-burning hydrogen fuel cells to power private vehicles, attracted a platinum rush of immigrants and investment from throughout Alliance space. In the past 12 years, Terra Nova has seen a 30% rise in population, and growth does not appear to be slowing. A colony founded in 2152, population 4.4 million, capital Scott. Okay, and there's the asteroid, but I will check the asteroid next time, because this episode is pretty much long enough, and I don't want to pause right in the middle of something substantial, so I'll just save here and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!